Welcome back to the stream, everyone. Tuco's been kind of in and out. He's probably going to really want to play in a sec. But until then, it's just me. Let's turn these lights on too, maybe. This time I remembered to stop the backups, but not to turn on the lights. Alright, agenda today is pretty straightforward. I've got this glue up that I did on the last stream that we're going to see how successful this was. And that shouldn't actually take too long. I say, kind of testing my luck, knock on wood. So this, if nothing goes wrong, should be successful, and we can test it out, but it might need work, I don't know. If that goes successfully, then my plan for what to do next is to try out this patch that Kyle Temkin made for the Rasp Dancer that I built a few streams ago. And just see if that lets us run the kind of emulated USB debug dongle experiment at a usable speed. Hey Tuco, are you outside? He's been hanging out in the hallway. But if he comes back in, I'll be sure to get the camera on him. Let's see. Fresh code for today. Ah, yes, the Sightly sandbag part of this project. Man, I usually like to start the streams off with a little bit of playing fetch with Tuco, and he was really in the mood for it a second ago. But now I think he went off into the hallway. Let me see if I can get his attention, just since that would be kind of a nice intro to the stream. Hey Tuco, you out here? Yeah? Yeah. Hey, boy. You wanna play? You wanna play, Chico? Is that too far away? Is that too far away? Yeah. How's that, boy? Is that more to your liking? Oh man, this is such a chirp tiger. He just makes these like little chirping noises when he finds something he really wants to catch and bite. Yeah. Meow, meow. So the thing I'm about to take out of the glue, or out of the kind of clamping assembly here, it's a flexible button keypad thing that I've been working on. And so it's kind of a new kind of at-home flexible circuit technique I've been experimenting with. It uses a milled Pyrolux circuit board material, which is it's like a sandwich of copper and a really thin layer of Kapton tape. And so I used that plus a couple additional layers of Kapton to make my own little flexible circuit board. And then the enclosure is a combination of these little hard plastic snap-in inserts and 2 pieces of flexible NinjaFlex filament. And then the whole thing is kind of pressed together and glued with this flexible adhesive called E6000. So that's what we get to check on now. Let's see if that part actually worked. Such a cat. So, this is what we got. Where'd you go? I missed where you put it this time. Where'd that go? I have some extras in my pocket for times like this. All right. So, this can go back on the light stand. Oh, it still smells like E6000 in there. The sides are looking okay. I know that's really hard to see on camera. Let's play with Tuco just a little more. Hey, Tuco. So I expect this to be glued to the metal a little bit because of the overglue on the edges, but I should be able to get that off. It'll just be held down by the glue and the magnets. Let's see how sturdy that is. Well, I don't know. The plastic might come off first, actually, because that's not, like, that's only attached by the overglue on the edges. Well, it feels like I'm getting the magnets. Seems good so far. Seems promising. Hey, Tuco. You want another bolt? Where did you put that one? Hey, Tuco, where is it? Tuco, I do not see where that... So, it's possible I used too little glue, because it looks like this is a little uneven on the back, but we'll see. I mean, too little is probably fine, too much might have been a problem. But, I mean, given how flexible this glue is, even too much might not have been that bad. Let's try to take this out without delaminating everything. It looks like the edges did not really glue as well as I was hoping. So, yeah, man. I think I might have used way too little glue on this. But, I don't know, maybe something else could have been different. We'll see if it's enough, or if I might be able to just add a little more or something. This is also like our first chance to kind of test it fully assembled, so maybe there are just totally different problems. Alright. So that was our kind of pressure mold to try to keep things together. Well, the magnets are already working, you know. That feels pretty good. I might really have to do something special to keep the edges together, though. I don't seem... Like, it could just be that this is not the right glue, like, maybe kind of seemed to work on that test piece, but at this scale is not actually sufficient. But I think if I flex it over about that much, I'm getting the middle button pressing, which could be a problem. Hey, Tuco. Well, let's try an electrical test of this to make sure all the buttons work. I mean, it seems like it's kind of holding together. The E6000 is like not necessarily the right choice for Ninjaflex. I mean, I'm glad that it's removable, so I can like get in there if I need to, but it seems like it might come apart a little too easily. Like, I'm a little worried about some of these edges, but if I don't pick at the edges, this seems like it might actually hold together, so this might be good enough to at least test the design to, you know, try it out some more before I worry too much about a permanent glue solution. But it feels pretty nice. You know, if I bend this too sharply, I get the middle button actuating, but I think I can, you know. I want to do a quick electrical test. Well, maybe I play with Tuco first, and then do a quick electrical test, and then let's try attaching this to a curved surface and then see how it works. Hey, Tuc. Oh, where did you put that bolt? Do I need to give you another pocket bolt because I haven't been paying attention to where you drop them? Oops. He's pretty good at finding bolts in that hammock. Oh, maybe I have Tuco occupied enough that we can test this thing. Oh, that's for later. Let's try. I think right now I just want a text editor. And a USB cable, is that too much to ask? That feels nice. So yeah, those two magnets are definitely, they seem to be holding the USB cable nicely. Let's plug that in. All right. That's a relief. Seems like that cleaning stage did the job. So, we've got our sticky button pad now. Let's try putting it somewhere less flat. Hey Tuco, did you find it? I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention. Hey Tuco. Hey cat. Camera was a little off, but he was giving me play bites. Aw. I think this cat is actually a dog. Hey boy. Let's see what we can do about this pole. So, it still smells a little like E6000. So, it is not flexible enough to curve all the way around the pole like that. But I think if I, maybe not even if I tilt it, this might just be not flexible enough. Yeah. Now it's having trouble actuating reliably. Like, I wonder if there's a button shorting out when it's at this angle or something. Or maybe this is a flaky USB cable, because I think I did have one flaky one that I didn't properly dispose of. Maybe that was the one. Let's try the other USB cable I had over here. Sorry, we want this one? Sure. Yeah, that was just the USB cable. Like, it's pressable, it's just not curving as much as I hoped it would. Like, I think that just might be the two layers being too stiff together. Well, or stiffer than I hoped. But I think if I stick it to something, I don't know. Like, it's nice if I have a less curved surface, but that's kind of defeats the point that I was trying to reach with this. But an interesting test nonetheless. Like, I certainly learned a lot from making this, and it'll be some interesting learning I can pass on to other people perhaps. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, this would be great if I had a surface that it fit on around here. But this is like, now this just has completely different problems. What else do I have around here? Oh yeah, it kind of fits under the desk. I mean, the surface is not so flat underneath there, so it's harder getting like a solid like pressure on the back of the buttons that you're actuating. Hey Tuco, you wanna play? Yeah, well, that's interesting. I'll have to think about what to do with this, because it's like successful in some ways. Like, I think I mostly kind of did what I set out to do, but it just isn't as flexible to be placed where I was hoping to place it. There's maybe solutions for that. Like, I do often have this piece of metal, or like a big piece of metal like this around just as a flat work surface, and it's nice that this will just kind of stick to any of those. Hey, Duke. Oh, you want the bolt cap? All right. So, yeah. You know, I thought this might work at an angle. It seems to have problems at an angle, too. I mean, that's... Yeah, some of the buttons are shorting out when it's bent that much. The glue is kind of holding together, but it has that kind of like crackly feel, like the glue is kind of breaking itself a little bit. I think probably the right way to make something like this is to, you know, maybe that's even just something I can try right now. Like take off the glue and then heat stake it at a bunch of points. And like I'm thinking just like poke it through with a soldering iron, like around the edges and some points in the middle. Wondering if it's worth taking this apart and trying that. I think that might just break it entirely, but... Oh yeah, a good suggestion from the chat to maybe glue the two pieces up while it's already in like a curved shell. And that would work if there was a specific curve I was trying to hold it to, but my hope with this was that it would be a little bit more of like a freeform thing that you could stick and it would curve around. But it seems like this just isn't quite flexible enough for that. Like, if I manually curve it around so that the magnets hold down, like the buttons in the middle start to stick. You know, and this direction actually kind of works. You know, I mean, this direction kind of works almost. It maybe just needs a little bit more magnetic hold. In fact, some of this might just be the wiring here being a little in the way. Like, something like that. I mean, the problem with such an extreme angle then is that the teensy is like not really positioned to work right. Because I was kind of expecting this to be more vertical when I positioned the teensy and its magnets. I was expecting that to hold kind of like that. But even that is too much stiffness for the amount of magnetic force I have right now. Oh geez, a suggestion from chat to use a heat gun on it. I don't think that would help. I think that would just break it. I mean, possibly bending it like this while the whole thing is in an oven, maybe? But I think a heat gun would not help. I think the glue might be a problem though, so, you know, I might just try that heat staking experiment, since despite this thing being kind of cool, I don't think it's actually useful in the state that it's in. So I think I'm going to risk breaking it further in order to do an additional experiment and try heat staking the layers together instead of gluing. So let's see if we can disassemble this first. There's also a suggestion in chat to just leave it vertically with only the center on, and it's not super usable in that configuration because then you can't really push the other buttons. Like these buttons need something kind of solid right behind where you're pushing, otherwise they just, you know, it's too flexible for them to actuate. I could have maybe solved that problem by putting another rigid insert at the, you know, on the behind side of the flex, but I think that would have made the flexibility even harder. Yeah, I think a lot of that problem is the glue. Like it feels like it's flexible in that way that E6000 is flexible, but not super flexible. Let's get a fresh recording. And I'd really like to just peel the top off if I can, and leave the magnets on the bottom. This will also kind of tell me how well it was all held together. Like, there's some of these edges where the glue did not really adhere super well. And the magnet kind of wants to stick to an arbitrary side of this as I'm peeling it apart. But I just want to get the glue off of both sides and then try heat staking it in a way that constrains the whole thing a little bit less, maybe. I think the magnets are going to end up coming off too, so let's just try getting those off cleanly. Experiment. You know, it would have been fine to leave it the way it was, but I will learn more by doing this. And maybe some people who end up watching the streams or whatever video I end up editing this into will end up learning something from my failures. Maybe it's just easier to do this. Glue. Uh-oh, taking a layer of Kapton with me. Don't want to do that. Just keep that layer there. I don't really necessarily have to be too fussed about getting all the glue off as long as it's like not too stuck together anymore. Still smells a little bit like E6000, which indicates it isn't totally cured. This stuff is so weird to kind of pick off after it's dried. It's kind of like, I don't know, it feels like some kind of alien mucus. Yeah, definitely some gaps in the water tightness of these really thin sections under the magnets, so some glue is leaking out through there. I don't know what the best, like, I mean, I might just glue the magnets back in anyway, since like the little bit of E6000 seemed to help them, but yeah, maybe for holding the magnets on, the best thing to do is heat staking still. I think I'm going to try this. I'm probably just going to grab a either a kind of not so great tip for my usual soldering iron, or I have another like cheap soldering iron that I just use for like melting holes in plastic and stuff, and I might see if the tip I have on there is a decent size and cleanliness for this process. The other approach I've had good luck with, you know, if you don't have like a soldering iron tip to ruin for this process, I mean, doing it won't like immediately ruin your soldering iron tip, it's just not good for it. The other thing I've done is just to heat up a piece of wire or a nail with a torch and then use that for the heat staking. And in fact, that might even be better if I can't find, like if I don't have a good small sacrificial soldering iron tip, because then I can make really nice tiny heat stakes, but we'll see. I think a little sacrificial soldering iron tip is probably about the right size for this job. Ugh. Yeah, this is gross. Where is the cat? I think he's hanging out outside in the hallway. I live in this kind of big warehouse building, and I rent like one little unit in it. Well, it's not like that little, but it's like one room basically, a big concrete box. But there's a long hallway outside that Tuco, my cat, likes to explore. He hangs out with the other tenants here and visits the other cats. Lots of cats and dogs in this building. And like factory equipment downstairs and weird stuff like that. magnets have multiple kinds of residue on them, since I think I had previously super glued some of these to things. Ooh, yeah. Some of these were held in reasonably well, but yeah, the E6000 does peel apart nicely from these surfaces. I have this whole sculpture that's basically just broken glass held together with this glue on the inside of a big plastic sphere, and that was actually really fun to make in some ways. Like, I kind of burned myself out due to the intensity of it, but the actual process was fun. Oh yeah, maybe it would be easier to take out the flex first. I don't know. I don't necessarily need to take out the flex. I just want to get most of the stickiness off of this. Yeah, this glue peels off in big sheets, if you're lucky. I have a feeling it would be easier to get it off if I separated these two pieces first. Maybe separating those pieces is a bad idea. Alright, maybe I just focus on where this is sticky. Like, I mostly just want to make room to stake this together around the magnets without having to... I don't know what ill effects the glue would have at this point if I left too much of it on, but it seems worth taking off as much of it as I can conveniently. I mean, I think the more of this I can get off from each side, the more flexible it'll make this. Yeah, that's satisfying. Yeah. Happy glue pulling day, everyone. So I like that idea that came up on the last stream about the like sports event style camera on wires to track Tuco. Times like this when he's out in the hallway, I guess that wouldn't work, but you know, I don't think the management here would be too happy if I installed a wire system in the hallway. Unfortunately, even though the building and most of its tenants are pretty awesome and weird, the management here has become thoroughly stuffy. So, I don't know if that would go down. So for something like that, you might need like a camera on Tuco to get his perspective. That's kind of what I was hoping the little like FPV style camera and transmitter would be good for. Because, you know, I've seen people do this on the internet. Basically, I just want to replicate the thing where you build like a drone FPV style rig and put it on your cat so you can see what your cat's seeing. And so it'd be just a little radio transmitter, a little action cam, and a little battery on a harness. Try to make everything such that it doesn't get in his way and it's as safe as possible. I'm not quite sure what kind of battery to use. I like to avoid putting big lipos on my cat if I can. hey Tuco, you're back. I was just talking about you. What you talking about, little cat? Is that all? What do you want? Whoa, that's a nice big piece. Yeah, I mean, this is like, I guess the upside of E6000 is that you do get to peel it off at some point, and that's kind of satisfying. It's more satisfying than hot glue, I think, in that regard. It's probably not as good for you. Oh, nice. 3 hours, 30 minutes until the new year in Croatia. Yeah, we're gonna all start ringing in 2017 as soon as possible. I could kind of imagine this, as I was putting the glue on this, I always kind of imagine like, oh, what if this goes wrong? How hard will this be to undo? That'll be fine. Yeah, it's like, I mean, this stuff sticks reasonably well, but, once there's like a weak point, it peels and peels. Which is how like E6000 usually works. I don't think this is necessarily due to the surface being too smooth. Although, both of these, well, actually not the bottom side, but on this side, this was printed directly on my build surface, so it was probably smoother than the other side. It's interesting that it's sticking a little better to this side in that case, but this is also the side that I actually applied the glue to first, so this also might have stuck better if I applied the glue to both sides and then pressed it together. I think that might have been part of my problem. But I think either way, the heat staking is probably going to be better from both flexibility and reliability point of view. It just won't really be openable. But at this point, that's less important. I'd rather have a thing that works that I can't fix than a thing that just doesn't work at all. Yeah, I mean, it would be fixable, it would just be a pain. Like, I'd basically have to drill out the areas where I heat stake it and then plug them with filament afterwards. Like, make little plastic rivets, pretty much. So, like, I'm not going to really worry about getting the flex off of this front piece. Since if that's glued together, fine. I'm not really too fussed about it, and it seems to be doing an okay job. I just don't want the two pieces of NinjaFlex held together with too much rigidity, since I think that's where my flexibility problem might have been coming from. So I might try to clear out the area like in between the pieces of flex, because that might help with flexibility. But the flex circuit itself like probably could use a little bit of support, so I'm not going to worry. I'm going to worry about the underside of the flex circuit here. I think Tuco went back outside. He's like, Tuco's like, Micah, you're boring. Sometimes I hang out in the hallway with him. I think he likes that. There's also a stairwell that gets a lot of sunlight, and he likes hanging out there. I think he still like goes into the walls and brings back weird bits of construction trash. Maybe the tweezers will help with this. Oh yeah, tweeze away that alien mucus. Oh, maybe autofocus will help me this time. Go back to being servo AF. This kind of reminds me of the glue that they use to stick together like junk that gets mailed to you. Like ATM cards and AOL CDs and stuff like that. I think the strategy here is to kind of rub it until it makes like an edge that's grabbable, and then to grab that edge with the tweezers. This could turn into some kind of like weird little stress relief game. Like some kind of flex circuit Tamagotchi. Maybe not even tweezers, maybe just rubbing. This actually seems to work just fine. It smells a little gross, but it's fine. It's drafty in here, so it doesn't really accumulate. So I think I'm going to mostly just focus on heat staking it right around the magnets. It's in fact kind of tempting to, if it wasn't for the fact that heating up magnets was so bad for them, it'd be tempting to put it all together, then heat the magnets up with some kind of induction heater. I mean, having the flex circuit so nearby probably wouldn't be great either, but... Yeah, it is one of those things where it'd be nice to to manufacture some kind of rig that would apply heat in a patterned set of locations. So maybe like a tool that's like a branding iron kind of thing that pokes down, or like a modified 3D printer with a heat staking attachment. I've got an old 3D printer that I've been meaning to fix up for a friend, but I keep going back and forth on whether it's actually worthwhile, because it's like one of the really old MakerBots, and it's like okay. I've given it a bunch of upgrades so that it actually has a decent extruder now, but it's still just got really old electronics all around, and it would be like I could probably replace it with a much better printer from Monoprice or something for not much money. So then it has me thinking, well, do I fix it or finish fixing it? Because I've already kind of started that process. Or do I just use it as an XY platform for another project? So, like I keep thinking about using it as a platform for locating an electromagnetic glitching coil for kind of probing around for interesting glitching regions on a chip. And that seems fun. And that seems like one of those things where there's like professional hardware out there if you're in the right groups, but there isn't a good, like widely available open source thing for magnetic fault injection that I've seen. And it seems like building something like that on top of a 3D printer chassis is probably a pretty easy way of going about it. There's also just so many motion control boards out there now. Like I could probably, I don't know, it's like almost like I just want to, like very few parts in that printer are actually good. The steppers are probably fine. It's like most of it is like serviceable, but not necessarily something I would want to design a new thing around. But if I can easily reuse it for like an experiment, then that seems just right, because I'm not like designing a bunch of stuff around something that's already obsolete, but I still get to use a bit of old equipment I still have for something useful. Oh, sorry. I'm really bad about getting my head in the way of this camera. I'll see if I can fix that. Be careful with that. Tuco, is that you in the hallway? I hear him meowing far away. Yeah, Tuco, come in here. Like always. Do you want to show me something? I think he's coming back here. It sounds like he's getting louder. Tuco, I think he wants me to come out there. Tuco, did you find something cool? Boy, I'm in the middle of a thing. It's satisfying when the autofocus works out. I think I'm just going to get this piece off and then try to put it back together. Ah, there's still some glue around these magnet holes. Do not want to damage the flex here. This is like the last big piece of glue I'm gonna worry about, I think. Alright. How are we doing? Some of the magnet holes are a bit more saturated with glue than I think really needs to be. Okay. So this is feeling pretty flexible again. One of these button inserts came out of its home. Let's put that back in. Okay. Okay. So I think I'm going to try just assembling it all on this plate again with the magnets and then heat staking it. So, what do I got? I'm just going to use this soldering iron tip. I think this is my slightly messed up one that I don't use every day. The other iron I was talking about has a much wider tip, which I don't think I want here. I think I want precision. So, let's start out with this layer. And then magnets. I'm not going to worry about gluing the magnets. I mean, I could glue the magnets, but I don't think it really matters. I don't think the glue there actually helps a whole lot. I will try to get them all going the same direction again. So that also means that I won't actually need this piece, since I don't care about pressing these areas together anymore. I just care about securing it around where the magnets are. So if this method actually works, then that piece will turn out to be unnecessary in the future. I mean, it seems like around the magnets and around the edges are where this wants to be sealed. I'm a little wary about doing it around the edges, since that's harder to undo, but I think this is still one of my last-ditch attempts to make this prototype useful, so I'm not super worried about it if it doesn't work out. hear you, Tuco. What do you want? Alright, so this piece again. I hear you, Tuco. So each of the magnets should fit pretty snugly into its corresponding little pocket on the top. And that's where I'm actually going to be securing them with the soldering iron. What do you want, boy? What's up? You want to fetch any number of these bolts that are just hanging out? Oh, such a cat. Alright. Hey, boy. Where did you just put that? Okay, here it is. Alright, I think we can decrease the temperature on this a bit. So I was just kind of poking a few holes through both layers around the perimeter of the magnet after being sure the magnet is fully pressed down. Oh man, it might actually be easier to keep this pressed if I put a little piece of metal on top. Ideally, maybe even another one of those magnets. I just don't have any of the exact kind other than the ones that are in here. Let's see what I do have. Oh, this will do. Okay, let's try that. Oh, that seems alright so far. I'm not gonna put too much stress on that just yet, but so far so good. Let's just see if we can do that all around. is not really sealed super well. It's kind of like sewing. That seems to help a lot. I think now let's go around these magnets. I'm getting hair cam, am I? Ah, thermoplastics. This doesn't even really smell like much when I'm doing this. It might just be there's enough ventilation in here. Next, let's do this middle magnet. maybe do a little bit of staking in these areas. Like right there. Right there. Okay. I think next is stitching along here until we get to the next set of magnets. Oops. So this is set to 550 Fahrenheit according to my Weller. Just less than I usually have it set to, but still like plenty for melting plastic. Sorry. Okay. This is not going to necessarily be the prettiest, but at this point I mostly just want to see if it'll work at all. think it's down to the last two magnets here at the end. So I'm hoping this stays more flexible, mostly because I'm not adding a lot of material and I'm not constraining the two layers to each other at as many points. I'm hoping both of those things help. It's not actually quite attached. Okay, that's actually welded. Just wanted the area around the USB port actually welded together all the way across and not just tacked. Alright, let's see what we have. That feels nicer. That does seem to be better. It seems to still be holding itself together, and it doesn't have any of the kind of crinkliness that the glue layer gave it. So let's see if that happens to be flexible enough. Well, let me get a little bit more footage of that with the actual focus on the camera. Yeah, that actually seems to work all right. I mean, as far as keeping the thing together at least. So it's like heat staked all around each of the magnets and around the edges and like welded continuously right there. So that's not really coming apart without significant damage. That's pretty nice. Hey, cat. I hear you, Tuco. Tuco, do you want to play Bolt and keep everyone in suspense over whether this works? Is that what you're asking, Tuke? Oh yeah, I just saw a suggestion from the chat to wire up a sewing machine needle to hit 550 Fahrenheit. That sounds pretty fun. I do have a heavily modified sewing machine here. Yeah, I think it's in the shelving over that way. Yeah, I've got some really old videos of it on my blog, but it's I modified it to give it a big DC motor with closed loop speed control, but it's still got all the original kind of plastic parts, so I think heating up the needle might require some additional upgrades. All right, let's get this thing on the pole and stop procrastinating that. So, yeah, it's not, I mean, it helps a little bit, but not quite enough. I mean, let's plug this in just to see what this actually looks like. Yeah, I mean, it works and it holds together. It just doesn't wrap around this narrow pole like I was hoping it would, but otherwise it's fine. Like, if I force it to wrap that way, then it kind of ends up clicking buttons. If I wrap it more like this way, it just doesn't stay on. It's fine. I mean, the stuff is pretty flexible still. It's just kind of a tall order to ask it to flex so much in that axis right now. I think I like, it might just be that the stiff inserts here are too wide. Like, this might have worked out better if I made the buttons a little narrower. But if I stick it on a surface like this, it's quite nice. If I don't use the flexibility at all. So, I'll think about what to do with this. I'll probably find somewhere to mount it that it still works out. And it's like an interesting object on its own, even if it doesn't quite work for what I was hoping it would work for. So, there it is. And it's not going to come apart now. These edges are together pretty well. Might be worth trying this out on like a whiteboard or something, but this piece of metal I have is probably the closest thing I have to a whiteboard around here, unless I move the camera to the other side of the shop. So. All right, that's probably enough fussing with this for the moment. Hey, Tuco. Maybe throw the bolt briefly, but then get on to the next part of this. So I also wanted to try out this, so this is the Rasp Dancer focus. There you go. This is a Raspberry Pi with the Rasp Dancer add-on that is a USB host or device based on that Maxim Max 3421E chip. So this is just basically a breakout that attaches to the Raspberry Pi GPIOs. Hey boy. Anyway. So this actually has this has a clean installation of Raspbian on the card. So this is going to end up starting kind of from scratch again, but that shouldn't take too long to get set up. Okay. And we need a keyboard. It'd be nice to have the bottom of a Raspberry Pi case also, so this doesn't short out. Four raspberries. Alright. So the Raspberry Pi is booting. Oops, this is the computer we want. And this is the stuff we're actually working with here. So, so we worked on this in a previous stream, and Kyle was watching the stream and was super nice enough to actually make the changes necessary to get the code for Rasp Dancer running with the more recent GoodFet example, or more recent Face Dancer examples. And so that got merged into the main GoodFet repository. So yeah, we're going to try to take advantage of this this check-in right here and see if we can get this going. So this is a new addition to the client here. So whereas previously there was kind of a fake GoodFet that the README had you kind of copy over the real GoodFet, this adds a separate file. Can we make this bigger? Right, helps if I use the right keyboard. So yeah, we have this Rasp Dancer using the Raspberry Pi GPIOs, and then it implements these kind of slightly higher level commands that that aren't just regular SPI, but they're talking to the Maxim chips registers. Nice fast SPI at 26 megahertz. So yeah, and that's just this changes the README. So instead of kind of splatting this file over top of the old file, you use a different API to create a Rasp Dancer instead of a face dancer, which seems much nicer. And we still need these GPIO libraries. So let's just check this out on the Raspberry Pi and work on that. So this is Travis Goodspeed, GoodFet, just that. All right. This is covering things up just a little bit. There we go. So we got a plain blank Raspberry Pi here. Gonna do raspi config. And mostly I just want to change, so I think it already expanded the file system. I want to turn on SPI and what else? I want to change the host name actually. Call this, we'll just call this Pi Rasp Dancer. Let that reboot for a few things. And then check out a Git repo. I guess first I just need to get this on my network. Oh, you know, it might just be simplest to give this thing Ethernet. I was going to get it on my Wi-Fi, but I have an Ethernet cable right here, and that involves less configuration. All right, Ethernet is plugged in. Pi. Let's change the password. And then let's get this on the network so we can SSH into it now. I'm just going to reboot again because I'm lazy, but then this should come up on my network so that I can SSH into it by host name. So you know, it's tempting to use the same technique with the flexible buttons to make something that is just like really tall and skinny that would do a better job at fitting on my poles. It feels like maybe some of the top plastic inserts have come out of their little clip, but it's kind of hard to tell. Anyway, let's try not to worry about that project too much right now. The stickiness is nice though. Like embedding magnets in the heat-staked layers of NinjaFlex definitely works. Anyway, let's go to the big computer with the nice keyboard and all that. Not that one. Great. So we have our new little raspberry here. So let's get Git and yeah, get this good fet repo checked out. Happy New Year. Just checking up on the chat. Got greetings from Russia and New Year's from Croatia. It's pretty awesome. Happy New Year, everyone. Greetings from overcast Emeryville, California. Alright, we need some Git. I thought I just heard Tuco somewhere, but I don't see him. Yeah, it would be a bit awkward to have the kind of flying Tuco cam that also, goes into the hallway and potentially other people's warehouse units. It'd be a little awkward. Oh, systemd. All right. Excuse me. Yawn. Cool. So we need to go back to contrib, face dancer, rasp dancer, and I think there were some prerequisites we needed to install for Python. I should send a pull request to say that I have tested this PCB, that this is the design we're using right now, and it does seem to work. So we did this with raspbiconfig. And this one, we started to try to figure out how to compile this last time, but it's already in Raspbian. So I think this is all we need. And I ignored this and just installed it with pip or easy install or whatever last time, and it seemed fine. So I think we just want, I think we want to install Python 3 first. I don't know if that's already installed. I can almost use this button thing as kind of a multimodal input pad. Like if I attach it where one row or one column of buttons is usable, and then I attach it with another column of buttons in the middle. It's a little bit silly though. All right, Python 3. What's that called? SPI pi? Something silly like that. Yeah. guess in practice I should never just install Python 3 in a Debian system. I have to always grab pip if I want pip, and I always want pip. It's also a little weird that Python 3 is not installed by default. Like, it seems like it might help with adoption if it was, and the Raspberry Pi seems big enough. That sounds like somebody else's holy war. Yeah, the heat staking on this worked really well. Like, that feels quite nice now. Aside from being the wrong shape, that came out pretty well. I mean, it's the shape that I wanted it to be. It's just not quite flexible enough for that to be usable. So, can we have SPI? Oh, there's a tip in chat about the ensure pip module, which I was not aware of. That sounds pretty useful. Yeah, I wonder what the difference is between installing pip via that and via the Debian package manager, but man, package managers are so political. Like, I think that was one of the first areas in software where the idea that software was not politics just seemed completely absurd, because package managers are pretty much entirely politics. Like, even the act of getting something to build on your platform is just resolving all these little acts of policy differences between organizations who control things. I mean, resolving conflicts between power and control situations. That's like what politics is. Seems to be taking suspiciously long. Do I have a good internet? I feel like I want some kind of verbosity control there. Is this just not what the package is called? That's fine. I think I saw the name of the package in the Git repo last time I did this. Let's go back there. I guess that actually is the name of the package. SPI-Pi. Well, maybe let's just grab this from the Git repo. That seems better. So So I think we just need to do this. That should be pretty straightforward. All right. So let's just modify one of these to be a quick test. Like, I think let's try Face Dancer keyboard. Oh, I guess we still need PySerial installed. Even though hopefully we won't actually use that for anything. That might just be called serial. Guess that's fine. Oh, right. I've got that GPO module for Python 2.7, but not for Python 3. So we do need to install that. Contrib. I seem to remember that link does not work anymore, but let's take a look at that. Yeah, Google code. Ooh, SourceForge. Blah. Gosh, this site is indistinguishable from malware most of the time. What I actually just want is that URL. Fine. Won't bother cleaning up the file name. Warnings, but it's fine. Well, we sure are polling fast. That's a good sign. Let's try plugging this into a computer and see if we get some USB transactions. Computer, here's a computer. And a cable. And I've been having trouble with this with macOS recently, so I'm specifically plugging this into a Windows computer. So this is plugged into a Windows computer through a long USB cable and a hub, but otherwise it's pretty direct. It's kind of hard to tell, isn't it? That is a bit spammy. Oh, we got some traffic though when I plugged this in. Yeah. Maybe let's try making this slightly less verbose because this is getting in the way. Yeah, I think let's just, I think we can just set that in the top level file here. I think I want max USB to be verbose, but not Rasp Dancer. Thank you very much. Nice. That seems like what I would expect the keyboard to be doing. That's pretty great. I don't think this particular app is set to like really do much with the keyboard, but let's see. Yeah, I think that just connects and hangs out. Can we do something with this? Not so much. Yeah, I think these particular emulations are just set up to like show up and not really do much else. But let's see. The next test I want actually is to just take a another program that I have that works with the same API that just lets you type on the keyboard, and we'll try that out. It seems like that'll work. That just seems like a nice intermediate test. And then we can actually go back to the program I was trying to run, that debugger, and we'll see if that's fast enough. So I had that on GitHub. Geez, how do I have 74 repositories? A lot of these are forks. So let's just grab that again. Oops, let's grab that anonymously so I don't have to set up my SSH key on this Raspberry Pi yet. Alright, so I'm just going to take this keyboard interactive demo and copy it to be Rasp Dancer keyboard interactive. I want Vim. I miss Vim. Yeah, I remember a time, just from the chat, once upon a time, SourceForge wasn't all bloatware. Yeah, I remember back when, you know, I used to have projects on SourceForge. I probably still do, actually. But it used to be like a nice place to hang out and make open source software. Is this still me? This is like my old username. Maybe I'm not still here. Or scanlime. Huh. I'm pretty sure my account name was MicahJD on here, but I guess I'm just searching for programs and not users now. Oh, there's just so much junk on here that I can't even tell. I gotta find a user. Oh, geez, this is terrible. I mean, I know I don't have anything important still on there. Oh, here we go. So I can't search using their search, but Google still knows. Oh man, I wrote my own CAPTCHA in Python. Does this still exist? That seems hyperbolic. Okay, weird. Anyway, the strange world of internet things. So I have Vim. Whoa, this is a really messy piece of Python code. I hear you, cat. All right, so I just need my Python path. Oh. Don't need no serial port where we're going. Okay, so if that's all happy, this should be like a curses window that I can type into, and it should show up on the Windows computer this is plugged into. So let's see if that's happening. Hello, video switch. All right, so that's the Windows computer. I'm going to plug in a mouse so I can at least like open up Notepad on here. Okay, let's turn the font up. All right, and then I'll plug the Face Dancer back in. Okay, so no more USB keyboard attached. Or I'll just drop everything. This mouse has no battery door anymore, basically. It's fine. Okay, so let's demo this. So on this switcher, this is still ready for input. And if I go back here, woohoo! So this is going over the emulated USB now. I don't know how many special keys work. Like, tab works, but modifiers don't. So like Alt-Tab doesn't seem to work. But yeah, this Rube Goldberg machine seems pretty happy. Let's see if it's fast enough to run my my LC87 experiment. No, I think I Alt-Tabbed on the other machine into a different console window. Yeah, anyway, success at Rasp Dancer. Well, thank you so much for the patch, Kyle. This seems like it's pretty awesome so far. All right, so the next experiment, I think I just had that hanging out in my Dropbox. Let's copy that onto the Raspberry Pi. LC87 debugger. Where did I leave this file? I might have to check out the previous stream to see where I put this, because I thought it would have been here. Well, that's embarrassing. Could it have been here? Oh, yeah, I think this is it. I think it's just like hanging out in this working copy. Yeah, I think these are all the files I need. If this works, I might try to put this somewhere a little more secure, but like I don't really want to check in these firmware images here since that seems like lawyer bait. But I would totally check in, like, for example, these other files, if they actually work. Don't necessarily want to just have a bunch of garbage in GitHub, but let's see if this all works. Yeah. Let's just do that. Right. Okay, let's make a Rasp Dancer version of this overall TCB87 emulator script. I don't know why that needs to have a copy of its name up there. And make sure my video recorder is going, because I definitely want this next part. Yeah. Things good over there. So I think now we can just do Rasp Dancer TCP87. Except this also needs to be updated. It's fine. Oh, I should have deleted that. Don't want the serial port opening. So, that is still plugged into the Windows machine that I don't want it plugged into, but that's fine. So, we have our emulated debug dongle now, hanging out on this computer. So now we should be able to plug this into this Windows machine that I already installed. The debugger on. Why did it just reboot? I think it went to sleep for some reason, but now it's back. Let's plug this into the video switcher. Okay, video. And now I think we just plug this in and see, first we should see Windows detecting it, and then we can open the debugger and see if it's actually a usable speed now. So I'm also feeling slightly anxious about the USB port on this machine, since I started having some problems with the USB port where I had to wiggle the device to get it to make contact, so this could have some problems that are not necessarily related to this device, but let's find out. So Windows seemed okay with it. Oh geez. Okay, that's the app I want. That seems like it came up way faster. That's a really good sign. Oops, I forget how to use the commands in here. But let's try maybe some of these other windows. actually like to reset the view so that we have all the usual windows now. Is this what I want? Oh, that is so nice. That is way faster. Sweet. So now I can just scroll through here and get a nice disassembly anywhere I want it. Great. So as I'm scrolling through here, the Raspberry Pi is actually, it's getting requests for specific regions of target memory. So like right before the debugger refreshes the screen, it just takes anything that's visible and fetches it from the target and then runs it through its own disassembler. So now that we have the Raspberry Pi giving us the ability to just back that with any file we want, then we can just use the disassembler interactively like this. And so it's going to be a little painful to do with this particular setup. I think I might want to change this around so I have like a real mouse and keyboard for this. The touchpad on this laptop is not very good, but the keyboard's fine. All right, so where were we in the whole narrative of this thing? Like now that we're done with this particular hardware yak, I can kind of pop up a couple of stack frames. Because the particular hardware yak here was, oh man, this mouse is terrible. Can I just fix that now? Problem with this is I need a USB hub because this laptop only has a single USB port. But let's try plugging the debug dongle into the keyboard's built-in hub, maybe. All right. Devices. So many devices. The battery door on this mouse is very broken. Oh, that's better. Okay, so now we've got our debugger, and I think the thing that I was in the process of doing was kind of illustrating using this to do, oh, I think I scrolled past the end of the image, and so my program probably threw some kind of exception, but now it seems fine again. So I was illustrating the process of using this to interactively disassemble an image. And this is basically how you would do it without a kind of automated recursive descent assembler like IDA or like R2. Let's see. I think I just wanted Notepad. And do I have my notes on here? I don't think I have that directory, no. This computer is not necessarily the right Windows machine to be doing this on. Oh, well. Maybe I can just transfer this over to the other Windows machine. I don't know, I'm also kind of feeling like maybe I should end this stream now and do a bit more setup, because there's a bunch of just like setup stuff that I feel like I need to do around here. Tuco is. Hey Tuco, you wanna finish up the stream with a little bit of Bolt? Now that we've had a successful, if somewhat underwhelming, Flex Circuit experience and a totally successful Raspberry Pi Face Dancer experience. I think Tuco's interested. Good boy. What's up, Tuco? Alright, maybe Tuco's not in a super playful mood today. Just like reopening the chat dashboard to see if there's anything I missed from before I finish up the stream. Oh, somebody on the stream was like, maybe typing your password on camera is not the best idea. I have thought of that. That's a password that I only use for the machines that are on the stream, and it's like pretty much useless outside of this room, so I'm not especially worried about that password if somebody wants to like go frame by frame and figure out what I was typing. All right, I think I'm going to wrap this stream up for today. I'll see you all later. Thanks for tuning in. And a special thanks to everybody who's been helping out. Thanks to Kyle for the patch, and thanks to all my patrons for the support and the ability to keep doing these streams more often. So thanks everyone. I'll see you later.